way, just so you guys know. It's not,
no splash of something extra in there, John?
I mean, I got to get halfway through it first, you know? But no, not tonight. We're actually getting ready to go on vacation. So I'm trying to get through this, and I've got a full evening of stuff to do after that. Trying to be good.
Where are you headed?
All right.
Just the lake house, just LBJ for a few weeks.
Beautiful.
Okay, everybody. We are officially live on our THCW Facebook page for happy hour tonight. Just want to say a quick good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for another one of our virtual happy hour renditions. My name is Kate LaFleur. I am the communications coordinator with Texas Hill Country Wineries, and we just want to welcome everyone that's joining us right now, or if you saved our video and are jumping on later, thank you so much for coming back and watching. THCW started these happy hours early last year as a way to stay connected with everybody throughout the craziness of the year. But we've continued. We've done over 20 happy hours now featuring different member wineries of THCW, covering various topics. So it's been a lot of fun to see everybody here and stay connected and learn a little bit along the way as well. To kick off the beginning of summer season this year, we will be talking a couple of our favorite things tonight, which is Texas wine and barbecue, of course. So please feel free to drop any questions that you might have in the comments, and we'll get them to our panel members and make sure that we address all of those. If you have any questions for anybody, let us know. Joining me tonight, our moderator is our president of Texas Hill Country Wineries, John Rivenberg, with Kerrville Hills Winery. And he is going to start it off this evening by introducing our wonderful panel members to you guys.
Hello, everybody, and hopefully welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight. We're excited. I wanted to jump on to this one tonight because, you know, next to wine, barbecue is probably one of my favorite subjects. Being a sixth generation Texan, I have, you know, cut my teeth by many a uncle and aunt's barbecue pits over the years, you know, growing up. And so I really wanted to be part of this conversation tonight. I'd like to introduce these two nice ladies that we have this evening. We've got Leah from William Chris Wine Company. She is the chief marketing officer over there at old William Chris. And we have Leanne with Yeti, and she's in charge of food bev marketing with Yeti. Is it Yeti? Is it Yeti coolers? What's the whole? Is it just Yeti?
It's just Yeti these days.
Just Yeti. Okay.
Yeah, we dropped the coolers.
Okay.
We make more than coolers now, so.
Yeah. Well, I know we yeah. A little known funny fact about John Rivenberg is I have a Yeti obsession, like some people have purses or boots or shoes obsessions. I think I have every line in every color, soft, hard-sided. You know, when you guys made the big roadie, I had to get one to carry wine in. So thank you. And thanks for being here.
You're welcome. And I will say you're not alone in that group. So I'm sure there's more out there.
It's good stuff. Well, tonight we want to talk about barbecue, and we want to talk about Texas wine, and how Texas wine pairs so well with Texas barbecue. I wanted to kind of kick it off. I know that Leah's got already something teed up for the evening, and I'm slowly getting to where I'm going to be opening something. Why don't you give us a little insight on what you're enjoying in this happy hour?
Sure. Tonight, I am enjoying a glass of our 2018 Alta Loma Vineyards Syrah from Lost Draw Vineyards. So Lost Draw Cellars is one of our brands. Tasting room is located, as I'm sure most of you watching know, in Fredericksburg. And this is a great wine for barbecue. I wish I had some barbecue here. This would go great with brisket, pork ribs. Syrah is a great wine for barbecue pairing. It's got those black pepper notes. It's got that oak contact that's gonna just really bring out some of those smoky notes in the barbecue. So I wish I had a whole slab of meat here, but I do not right now. But I'm still gonna enjoy this. It's still a great wine on got own. And don't leave me hanging, guys. I need everyone else to have something.
Well, I've got one of y'all's pet nat here, so I'm enjoying one of those.
Good.
Well, I apologize. I don't have a William Chris or a Lost Draw wine in front of me. Although last night I did have with dinner a fantastic Lost Draw Pinot Meunier from the Yoder Vineyard that was killer, and we had it actually with a barbecue pork tenderloin, which is really, really good. And I've been meaning to call sides because I got 3 glasses in and I had no idea it was a Lost Draw wine, and I was just going on and on and on about how great it was, which didn't surprise me, honestly. Right. But it was stellar. It was a stellar wine, and it paired really well with pork tenderloin. Bubbles. I'm a bubbles nerd, so
I was gonna ask, was it the still or the sparkling? So is the sparkling?
Yeah, it's the sparkling. Really.
I'm a big fan of that one too.
That's a great wine. So Leanne, okay, my question is, I'm going to start off with some questions. I'm pretty biased to some barbecue places that I really like, but I want to know, you've got a pretty vibrant background in the barbecue world. And so, you may have some hidden gems. I'd like to know where's your top 3 favorite barbecue places in Texas?
Oh gosh, that is a good question. Yeah, so my background, I was at Texas Monthly for 10 years, and I oversaw our TM BBQ marketing and events there. So I worked really closely on our barbecue festival and all the top pitmasters in Texas. So I will say it is hard because I think it's also working so closely with these folks. It's, asking who your favorite child is. And I'm sure we all know we have one, right? But you don't want to say it. So, but I think, it's interesting how Texas barbecue has kind of evolved. And I think, you look at what Lockhart did, and what that kind of is the mecca of Texas barbecue. But then when Aaron Franklin and, you have Leroy and Lewis now, and with Evan Leroy doing some like amazing things, it's really kind of taken it to the next level, which is, kind of great. And I think it's put barbecue on the map again. It's become a kind of this popular, cuisine for food that used to just kind of be something that, was really not at the point of that. And when you saw Aaron Franklin become the first chef to win a James Beard Award for barbecue was really amazing. So I would say, I'm a huge fan of Leroy and Lewis and what they're doing here in Austin. I mean, they kind of define themselves as new age barbecue. So you see like beef cheeks and, pork belly and things of that sort that aren't your traditional brisket, ribs, and sausage. Obviously, when you look at places like a Franklin barbecue, I mean, you kind of can't beat the brisket of Aaron Franklin, but you've got places even here in Austin like Valentina's that put a spin on it for, Tex-Mex barbecue. So you're starting to see a lot of that as well, where they're adding a different element besides just your typical, beans and coleslaw and potato salads. It's really kind of putting a twist of, brisket tacos and things of that sort. But, I will say, like I said, Leroy and Lewis is a great one that I love. You even got, places up in Dallas that are doing amazing things. So like Pecan Lodge, as well as Snow's Barbecue. Obviously, you can't compete with Tootsie and a 86-year-old pitmaster who is just an amazing woman and kind of icon within the barbecue space too. So Cadillac Barbecue in Dallas is a great one, and they've been doing amazing things. And I will say it's interesting here in Austin too, you have Bangers, who is kind of bringing whole hog to Austin and to Texas. And so that's something that you obviously don't see a lot of, but they're kind of trying to do that. And Ted, who's their pitmaster there, went around to the Carolinas and did, his research and really trying to figure out how to bring some of that to Texas. So I think once they get back open up and their pit room open, it will be interesting and to kind of get some whole hog in Texas.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really interesting thing. We in the wine industry, we've been doing hog roasts for a long time. I mean, I think Chris and Bill were kind of the first ones to do a full blown whole hog roast, and I've had probably way too many good times at those things over the years. But that's Bangers is a place that my cousins that in Austin have been super eager for it to open back up again. That I keep hearing really interesting things about. So I'm excited. I on a whim woke up and went and got brisket tacos to take out at Valentina's because they were on Sunday morning they were pretty damn good. Yeah. There's I knew you would have a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure knowing the barbecue industry like you do, it's probably pretty difficult for you to pin you down. So I tried. I wanted to hear that was a very politically correct, fantastic answer for somebody who works in the world of barbecue. But I was actually surprised that there were places that I hadn't heard of. So that was a nice little insight. What would you consider if you were going to pair barbecue and a wine? What would be your absolute favorite pairing? Like whether cut of meat or style and wine. What would be Leanne's go-to?
Well, I think, it's kind of interesting too, because as I now, at Yeti, obviously our role within the barbecue world is outside of Texas too, right? And so I've been fortunate enough to really work with amazing pitmasters, in the Carolinas and in Memphis. And, even we have a ambassador in New York who's doing Texas style barbecue up there that's, amazing. And so it is hard too, because I think, when we're all in Texas, it's beef, right? And it is the brisket and the beef rib. And those things are, to me, it's amazing, but you can't eat a lot of it. You can, but I mean, you're definitely going to be in a meat coma after that. And so you really don't get to enjoy as much of, I think, the wine because you've consumed too much meat. So, but I think with a beef rib and brisket, I mean, a Tempranillo and something that is, in that sense is always great. And then with pork, I think something with, an acid and acidity to it. So like a dry Riesling and things of that sort to me are kind of go well and kind of keep things, in the right nature. So
I love it. One of my favorite things is an off dry Riesling with a nice, really kind of like my family's got some Hispanic heritage to it, and we make some carnitas, and so a nice like off dry Riesling with some carnitas is you would probably never hear that pairing anywhere else on the planet other than somebody who grew up 6 generations in San Antonio, but has German heritage on one side and Hispanic heritage on the other. And so I feel you. And I think that the world of barbecue is cool, that it is so big, right? And that we are a cool, interesting little piece of something that is so culinarily understated still, but at the same time on a really neat rise. That's neat. Okay. Well, thank you for the insights.
Yeah.
So Leah, I'm going to put you on the hot spot. I'm going to ask you the same questions. Where you have a top 3 favorite barbecue spots in Texas, or it doesn't even have to.
I don't have as much of a depth of spots as Leanne by any means. But I did grow up in Austin. I grew up eating a lot of green mesquite, and I actually had green mesquite again recently, and it totally holds up. Like, it was really good. Franklin's is like, that's like the next generation of barbecue. I've definitely sat outside of Franklin's in the long lines in the rain for like birthday parties of my friends, like, let's go to Franklin's, and you get there at 8 a.m. and you eat lunch at 11:30, and you've had mimosas all morning, and the barbecue's amazing. Then I started working at Yeti with Leanne. I didn't have to wait in line anymore, so that was nice. So green mesquite, Franklin's. I'm trying to think of anything else in Austin that just like, obviously Valentina's is excellent, but it's very different. I'm not like a big barbecue person, but then when I have it, I'm like, I should eat barbecue more. Like, I do love it, but I don't have as many ideas as Leanne. So I hope everyone was taking notes when she was rattling off those spots.
Well, I believe too, though, Texas Monthly should be coming out with their new top 50 list this year. So I believe that's usually June timeframe. So I need to see about that, but usually it's every 4 or 5 years.
Styles and is another great one. Did you mention Styles and Switch?
Style Switch is a great one, and they even have the Switch out in Dripping
Right.
Springs, and so they do amazing stuff as well. So yeah,
That's awesome. Well, I got to tell you, I'm going to answer the same question. For the sanctity of not having more folks on here, I'm going to jump in outside of being a moderator. Being a San Antonio guy, growing up in San Antonio, we have a couple of places that are like near and dear to my heart. Unfortunately, one of them is no longer in existence. I grew up eating at a place called Carranza's Barbecue, which was downtown. And Carranza's had been around for a zillion years. It was really, really good. Unfortunately, family, got old and decided to go a different direction at some point. But lately I've kind of Blackboard and then also Two Brothers in San Antonio are pretty exciting places for me. And I got to give a shameless plug to some family friends. I'm a big Bill Miller fan. I know I'm going to probably catch hell, but consistent, regular drive-through barbecue, Bill Miller's, I think, does a pretty damn good job. And so I'm not even getting paid.
Great chicken.
And so they have great chicken. And that was kind of what I was leading into is that barbecue's more than beef. Like I actually eat a lot more barbecue chicken than I do anything else. In our house, it's slow smoked turkey breast and chicken.
Turkey's underrated too, I think. That's the thing. There's Franklin's turkey is amazing. So I think there's that too, that turkey can kind of be underrated.
I'm also a big Cooper's Original fan because of the turkey. It was one of the first places I had, a really good smoked turkey breast. And we always get a little bit of Cooper's barbecue for Thanksgiving, the turkey, because we just like it. So we wind up ordering some. And that being said, I think that's one of the biggest understated things about barbecue is that everybody thinks it's just beef. And I like that you touched on it earlier, that it's not just beef, that it's pork and sausage and goose and game and all other kinds of things. I had an opportunity to work in South America a couple of years, and I fell in love with the gaucho cooking. It was just awesome. I was working with Tanat, and it was a big wine, big game. And I just fell absolutely in love with gaucho cooking. Of course, I smelled like firewood and barbecue all the time, even though I was just there eating. But I'm kind of curious to know if do we have anywhere like that in Texas that's doing anything like full blown kind of gaucho cooking that's like outside other than the Perini?
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's not too much in that sense, and I know that even too, like some folks have gotten in, and there's a ton of folks doing these custom grills in the Santa Maria style, grills in that sense. I haven't really seen too much from the gaucho side. So I know too, like obviously barbacoa is the down south and something that. And Valentina's usually will do a great job with that too. I mean, they've got that on their menu. But yeah, I haven't seen too much here from the gaucho side, but it is amazing meat in that regard. So
that is pretty cool. If you guys had the opportunity to do a barbecue, a barbecue and wine dinner, and I'm going to throw this one to you, Leah, first. What would that look like? I'm just kind of curious, just for sake of conversation, what would that look like? What would your courses look like through wine and barbecue for a dinner?
Ooh,
I know.
How much time do we have? I would definitely skew more into kind of the smaller portions, but like more advanced culinary items. Maybe start with like a sticky ribs with like something like a pet nat or that sparkling Pinot Meunier that you had, like something to cut that sweet sticky texture. Some bubbles would be really delicious. Something really hefty for the main event, like a really beautiful brisket or a beef rib that's been, you know, that's going to pair really nicely with something like a Tannat or a Tempranillo. I would love to get some turkey breast or some chicken in there with like a Roussan or a Marsan. But like something really interesting. Like I'd want to bring some greens in there. One thing that's really great about wine with barbecue though, is that unlike beer, you're not like packing on the heft, right? It's like this lighter experience. It's this lighter complement. I think a lot of people don't think about wine with barbecue, but you're able to eat more because you're not consuming this really heavy beer that's just going to sit in your stomach. I think a lot of people think beer and barbecue, they go together when you're cooking, and that's great. But when you sit down and you have a whole plate of 3 or 4 different types of meat and sides and everything, wine, especially if you can get a little bit of 3 or 4 different wines to go with each morsel, I think that's going to sit better and just digest easier and be a more enjoyable experience. So yeah, I would kind of go around the horn. I would do that sticky rib, little pork ribs or something with some bubbles, a sparkling rosé of some type, turkey or chicken with a Roussan or a Marsan, and then like a beef rib or a brisket with something like a Tempranillo or a Tannat. That sounds delicious. And I wouldn't be the one to cook it all, but that's where I would go with the menu.
I think you nailed it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of exactly that. Like you've got to make sure that, you know, I've been to plenty of barbecue dinners and plenty of events, you know, with barbecue, and it to keep it, you've got to do small portions. You've got to kind of keep it and be creative with it as well, because again, that much meat, you just kind of, you know, find yourself just being like sick to your stomach and you can't take any more in. And I remember we were doing an event with Aaron Franklin in New York, and we kind of took Texas barbecue to New York and we built it as this all you can eat. And I was like freaking out that it was just, we're going to run out of food. And Aaron was like, Leanne, he's like, if people eat and go through the line 3 times, like they're going to be sick. They're like not going to like be able to leave the place. And it was just so true, because I was like thinking that, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, what is going to happen? So I will say the best events are the ones where, you know, it's portioned out. It's, you know, in a different way than just kind of a plate of 3 meats and your sides. And you really kind of get creative with it.
I make a great salad, so I could make a big, beautiful salad to go on the side.
A salad is a very important part of the meal, right? You can't like, you know, you can only be so much of a metasaurus. You have to, you can only be so much of a carnivore, right? That's what we tell the kids anyway. That's what I tell the kiddos. You can only be so much of a metasaurus. I know that's not correct. I know it's a carnivore, but at the same time.
Banana pudding for dessert.
It's funny that you said dessert, because I was actually, that was a segue into like where I was going next. Is I'm also a big fan of like barbecue desserts. And I think it's an underrated thing that a lot of people don't think about. I grew up eating, my grandmother made the most delicious seared peach, not a peach cobbler, but seared peach, peach halves with a peach reduction, seared and caramelized on the barbecue pit with some homemade ice cream. And man, it's like, I've tried to reproduce that 1,000 times in my life. And I get close just because ice cream makes everything taste good. But I've never been able to make it perfect. Do either of you, or even Kate, if you want to jump in, if you've got a favorite dessert from the barbecue pit, I would love to know what that is.
It's hard to, I'll tell you, Truth Barbecue. Are you familiar with Truth Barbecue out in Brenham?
No,
His mom makes the desserts. They have a location in Houston too. And some of the most amazing desserts and cakes, and that, you kind of, again, it's that thing when you walk into a barbecue place, you don't always sometimes expect the desserts to be like the star. But I mean, their barbecue's amazing as well. So everything all around is awesome. But they kind of set the stage where, again, like these traditional barbecue places, you would go in and it is the banana pudding or the peach cobbler and, that sort of stuff. And so to kind of see the variations that they're putting out there is pretty amazing.
See, I'm telling you, I am very secretly, since I'm going on vacation, and I call it vacation, we're going to go spend time at the lake. And one of my favorite things on the planet to do is cook. I do all the cooking in our house. I am the cook, right? I guess it's an extension of being a winemaker. That's just how the world rolls. And so people keep asking me like, well, what are you going to do? What's your plans? What do you, and quite honestly, like I want to spend like most of my afternoons planning like my dinner plan and just making it and then just watching the sun go down as we, eat and drink our way into the evening, sitting by the water. So
that's the best part of the day.
Oh, I'm telling you. So I'm secretly like I'm picking up ideas and like the menu idea earlier, and then pairing ideas for myself. I don't know if you've been noticing me taking notes. They're all notes based around like, oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. I want to go to Truth Bar. I'm gonna go there. So I hope folks on the internet are doing the same thing. Kate, do we have any questions? I don't have access to the feed. Do we have had anybody inquire or?
We do not have any questions yet. We did have one comment from Michael Clark that said, wherever John's wine is served is where the best barbecue is.
Ooh.
So there you go.
Very that is very Michael Clark's. He's got good taste. I mean, he doesn't drink my Texas wine. He's a big lover of Texas wine and huge supporter, and not just mine. He's a good dude. He's been following my career for over a decade, which has been kind of cool. So I'm all tongue tied because I'm blushing. I will say I went and had I just so happened to I had a bottle of Pontotoc. I think it was the Pontotoc smoothing iron from their state vineyard up in Pontotoc. And I just so happened to be coming back from their vineyard from helping them with a project one day. And we had a bottle of wine with us, and we stopped, and it was fantastic. It was like during COVID, we stopped and got some Cooper's barbecue to go on the way back. And I drank that wine, and it was just such a great pairing. And it's been something that I feel has been underrated as far as pairing selections, like you guys both said, is wine and barbecue. And I think that the beautiful nature of the lighter fare is something that needs to be explored more. Like we said, the turkeys and the white wines. And I think one of the cool things about barbecue, much like Texas wine, is we're not bound to any like conventional wisdom, right? We can do all kinds of interesting and different things. And if you want to drink a sparkling Pinot Meunier with some pork ribs, you can do that. So I think it's kind of neat. I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask a random question, but if you have a question, John, you go ahead.
No, Kate, please go ahead.
So this is a little off topic and off script. So I apologize. But being from Louisiana originally, the distant cousin of a Texas barbecue event would be, of course, the crawfish boil. And we are getting to the end of the season, but I would love to know, if you don't like to drink beer, which I don't really, and I love wine, what kind of wine are you supposed to drink when you're at a crawfish boil? I've always struggled with that.
I would definitely go rosé or white wine. So that honestly, that sparkling Pinot Meunier would really be great with crawfish, because that spice quality, the fruit forwardness, and the kind of just in your face bubbles and delicious kind of candied fruits that you're going to get out of that sparkling rosé would be delicious with the spiciness of crawfish. And then, a really nice crisp, like Picpoul Blanc or again, a Marsanne. You can't go wrong. It's hot. It's usually going to be hot outside if you're eating crawfish. You're going to be working with your hands the whole time. So you want something that's just like refreshing and that you can go back to over and over again. That's another one though, where people think beer always, right? Because that's kind of what's part of that activity. But then you have some wine and it ups the crawfish experience for sure. Lost Straw actually does a big crawfish boil every year, and I was there for that one this year, and it was awesome. And we were slinging quite a bit of rosé back that day, if I recall. John, what do you think?
I would totally agree. I think that one of the most underrated things, Texas makes, I mean, just to put Texas in the back, like in the mix, we make a lot of off dry wines. And I mean, for me, you're going to eat, and if you're eating really good crawfish, it's spicy, right? And it's got a lot of texture to it, and it's got a lot of structure to it. And so like, I would love the weight of like a nice crisp kind of off dry Muscat, like Muscat Giallo would be really nice. Even like, I know there's a couple of folks kind of making some like Sauterne style wines that are, I mean, even closer to like the sweeter side. But I mean, for me, just a good off dry bubbles would be great. My personal favorite bubbles right now is from Sandy Road. Reagan and those guys, Reagan and his family, man, I mean, it's got enough fruit to it where I think it would be fantastic with some crawfish. That would be something that I would lean towards as a pet nat, because I think a good pet nat would give you that kind of that depth and structure and weight on the palate that would help balance out kind of the spice and texture of crawfish. Yeah. That would be my kind of go-to if it were me. And I love crawfish. We snuck our way. Guys, this is embarrassing. I was at my wine club pickup party at Kerrville Hills. I ran up to Slate Mill and I grabbed some crawfish because Randy texted me, the owner, and was like, "Hey, come get some crawfish." So we snuck away and got some crawfish and brought it back.
You went to another winery on your release party day?
A big deal. I don't know. Like, I was invited.
I said I like crawfish.
There were crawfish. What are you supposed to do?
Literally, Joneses do it right. They literally flew in like crawfish from New Orleans. I mean, from Louisiana. Like, I mean, it's not every day you get it done right? And it's 10 minutes down the road. Truth be told, I had some other business there as well, but I was on the tail end of mine, and we have a great staff. So nobody really wanted to talk to me anyway. They wanted to talk to else who was here. So I was able to sneak away for a little while.
Well, now I know for next crawfish season what to put on my list.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, I got to say it, like, I've seen this like resurgence of kind of off dry wines. It's really surprised me. We've had a lot of people ask for them. I've had a lot of people that I consult for ask me for making some off dry, more stylistically interesting wines. And, I'm interested by that rise back towards, what for many years was traditional wines. There were a lot of traditional whites. I mean, Sauterne, I mean, that can't get much, the Alsace wines, you can't get much sweeter than that. So I think that for me, I always kind of gravitate towards that with barbecue, because I think barbecue's just got so much weight and structure. I love the balance of an off dry wine with that. Guys, this is good. Like, now I'm making myself hungry, and I'm like, I'm distracted because I'm starting to think about what I want to make myself for dinner after a long day at the winery.
Yes.
There's a little, we just did a thing with Daniel Vaughn, who's even the barbecue editor of Texas Monthly, and I worked closely with him. And we call it faux vide. So, this is those moments too when you're looking at vacation and you're kind of like, you want to maybe have more time, for fun on certain days versus like spending it in the kitchen or on the grill. Cooking is, a lot of these barbecue places, you can go and get a vacuum sealed, brisket from them. So you can either call them, or they do have it on their websites. And I know there's, some of the e-com that you can buy it like from their websites as well. But, getting one of those, and you either, can sous vide it, but we obviously had put in a Yeti cooler, and you just put the hot water in with the Yeti cooler, shut the lid and let it sit for 3 hours. Then you've got a brisket ready to go, and dinner's ready, and you look like the hero. So that's something you can always do.
Fantastic idea.
And then the great thing is, if you have leftovers, you always then have like brisket tacos for breakfast in the morning. Yeah.
So
genius, Leanne.
In a place where you can find that like that timing or that recipe or how to put that in a Yeti cooler? Do you guys have a link to that somewhere where we can find that?
We do on our website. Yeah. So if you probably just type in faux vide, it will be, you can find it on our stories. So we've got it on our story section.
Awesome. That's really cool. I had no idea. I've been a sous vide nerd for a long time. So that's really, I'm all about low tech. So if I can make it easier, that's really neat.
I love that.
Yep. And then if you don't have that, it always can be done in the oven too, which is, you know, I've heard both sides of it, that honestly, like sometimes it's a little better in the oven when you're reheating it, but the sous vide obviously does a great job.
Awesome. That right there was worth the whole time we've been on this conversation, in my opinion.
Yeah. To make you the hero of the party. Exactly.
Yeah. I like that. I like being the hero from time to time. That's awesome. Well, if we don't have any other questions, and I've run out of questions. I don't know if you guys have questions for each other. If you guys want to talk about something else, I could sit and literally nerd out and probably, Leanne, ask you 1,000 questions and just keep going down the list of like where to go, and Leah, what fun things are happening. I do have a question. What is the next fun thing happening at William Chris Wine Company? What's the next great event or the next great thing we should be looking for?
Well, one thing that came to mind earlier when you were talking about whole hog roasting, we're having our hog and goat roast. So it had to take a hiatus last year, obviously, but we're back for 2021, and it'll actually be on Father's Day this year, which is going to be really fun. So hog and goat roast at William Chris Vineyards on Sunday, June, I can't remember, but it's Father's Day. So that'll be a ton of fun. We're excited about that. And things are booming, man. It seems like everyone's ready to get back out there, and seems like the Texas Hill Country is a first stop for a lot of folks, which is great for us. And we're busy. I'm sure you guys are too, John, and happy to be in that position. And for Lost Draw, we've actually got, if you're interested in paella, we've got a really cool paella party happening for our annual rosé release. We have a rosé club for Lost Draw fans, and that paella party is also in June. So that's another food-oriented event. Those are the ones I get the most excited about.
That's awesome. Who's doing the paella? Do you know?
So I don't know if you know Taylor. So Taylor's usually the chef. And when I first kind of was like, all right, I guess Casey's husband does the cooking, I was like, who's this guy? And then his food is incredible. So he's a banker, the banker by day, but his passion is food. He's very passionate about cooking. It's his favorite thing to do. He's just like you. He loves to be the hero. He loves to spend the whole day cooking and then share this great, product with everyone at the end of the day. So I've had his jambalaya, I've had his crawfish, and now I'll have, I assume he's the one doing the paella. He's always back there on the crush pad, cooking. So I think it'll probably be Taylor, and this will be my first one. But yeah, that's going to be so delicious with those rosés, and it's unseasonably cool out. So maybe it won't be crazy hot in June. It seems like a slow start to summer, which honestly, I'm totally here for it. I'll take it. I want to just kind of skip the real summer and just go 85 and sunny, maybe a couple days in the mid 90s. And then all of a sudden it's October, but we'll see.
That would be nice.
But other than that, we're just, we're keeping tabs on all of the vineyards out there. I know the High Plains has had a really rough start to 2021. I mentioned earlier that I was drinking Syrah from Alta Loma Vineyards. Alta Loma's crop got really, really busted up by that hailstorm last week, I think it was. So, I mean, it's just been one thing after another, and there's no one more resilient than the Texas wine grower, man. It's a tough business. I have the easy job of just selling whatever we ultimately produce. I get to help sell, what ends up in the bottle, but those guys have to really put up with a lot of challenges and a lot of hurdles to get there. So I know that's been something that's weighing heavily on our industry's mind.
That's a true statement. You can't. No,
Yeah.
That's very well said. Yes, it has been weighing on our heads, hearts and heads heavy. Yeah. But as my friends in California say, you got to have a certain kind of grit to make wine in Texas, right? It's kind of like it goes hand in hand with being a Texan.
Yeah.
Not for the faint at heart.
That's right.
The imagination. Well, thanks for those updates. That's good stuff. Now I know what I'll have to give old Chris a call, let him know what I want to do on Father's Day. Hook me up.
See ya.
Those of us that are like really rolling around, we go to other places. We don't just sit in our own backyard. Like those of us that can still roll in the back door most places because we can. I like to visit my friends. You know what I mean?
Well, we want to come visit you soon, John. It's just I got Lostra, I got William Chris, we got some other things popping. I need to clone myself, but no, Chris and Andrew and I would love to come and see you soon.
Leah, I get it. You know who I had here the other day? I had all of the winemaking crew from both William Chris Wine Company and Lostra hanging out,
Ooh.
And so I got.
I bet you guys got into some trouble.
No, actually, no, not at all. It was actually pretty tame. I was really busy, and Tony and Buglu kind of rolled through the door with the whole rest of the crew. Like I walked out of a meeting and they're all sitting in my tasting room drinking wine, so I had to kind of cancel my afternoon meetings and do what we do, right? It's good stuff. It's always been long dear friends. Miss Leanne, if there is anything that you can share, what are some of the newer exciting things at Yeti that you guys are?
Well, we just recently launched luggage. So that was a kind of an extension of our bags line. So it's really amazing. And I think it's kind of in the right time as things start to open back up. And, I think everyone will try to be hitting the road and getting out there and doing some fun stuff this summer again. So
I think we've got a tip on how to sous vide a brisket in a suitcase.
Yeah, you can totally. The nice thing is with the soft-sided coolers, you can totally take a brisket with you on an airplane. So, just a TSA usually wants to check it out first, but they'll probably check it. But yeah, you can throw that in there, and you got a brisket ready to go and to get where you're going. That's really exciting that with the stuff that we've got with our new collection of product launches. And then, obviously for us, we, our department and the work that we do, we're pretty much out and about in the communities and attending festivals and events. And so it was a big adjustment for us, obviously, to kind of be home and not doing that. So I think we're looking forward to these festivals that are starting to come back. Memphis in May, barbecue competition. Obviously, for those that don't know, May is National BBQ Month. So that's one of the reasons too for kind of talking barbecue. So that just took place last weekend. So it's exciting. We had a bunch of our ambassadors there competing. So I think when it's going to be awesome to get back out there and attend these events and start to do the things that, we were doing pre-2020, right?
On that note, Leanne, we have a question for you in our comments. What has been your favorite food and wine or any kind of event that you've attended over the last couple of years?
That's a good question. For me personally, and even just from a brand perspective too, some of these smaller curated events have really been the ones that I have walked away from, because I think at the end of the day, it goes to everything, even within the wine industry and the barbecue side it's a craft, right? And there's work and hard work that goes into it. And, a lot of these bigger food and wine festivals, you just see people just like going through and trying to get their money's worth, right? And really kind of just hitting up as much as they can without really taking the time to like hear the story and appreciate kind of, what this actually is that you're drinking and what it is that you're actually eating. And so for me, I personally enjoy these events that are smaller and intimate. And we're a partner of Jackson Hole Food and Wine Festival, and so we're going to be out there in June, and that one is a great event because it's out at this ranch with 300 people, and so again, it's really small and intimate. But I'd say one of the most favorite events that I went to was called Play with Fire. And he's not doing it anymore. I mean, I would hope to bring it back, but it was kind of just an amazing event. It was in Hudson Valley, New York, where each of these 10 stations they had this insane cooking apparatus. I mean, these things were, insane and monstrous. And there's like a massive paella one, and they had goat and they had like a hanging chicken kind of chandelier kind of thing. It was this just amazing kind of thing that it was art with food basically as you're walking around, and it was just out at this farm, and you just meandered through the farm to like each of these stations, and no matter where you were, there was a bar at each one with wine and natural wines, because their thing was these natural wines. So to me, that was a great experience. And it was something, like I said, that you got to connect a bit more, because you weren't trying to hit up, 50, booths to try to like get through and make sure you didn't have FOMO. I think it's a lot of things as people go to these events and you have FOMO because you're like, I want to try everything. So some of the smaller intimate ones to me are the ones that are more special.
That's great. That sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like never mind. I'm having a senior moment. It's gonna happen to me from time to time. The one at Perini Ranch. What is the event that happens at Perini?
Yeah. Isn't it just what is that one? I feel like it's just Perini. Is it just the Perini, or does it have a name to it?
No,
but I know what you're talking about.
I'm embarrassed. I was a speaker at it one year, and now I can't remember what it's called. Dr. Becker's gonna call and roast me on this one. I promise. Gonna be like, John,
just really need that vacation. That's all.
I need that. I do need the vacation.
The Buffalo Gap. Is that what you're talking about?
Gap. Thank you. That's been one of my favorite events over the years, because of that same reason. It's pretty intimate, and quality over quantity. I think the key.
And I think we'll see a lot of that, honestly, kind of going forward. I mean, just given the current situation and it being really hard for restaurants to, partake in some of these things and be, asked to feed, thousands of people. It'll be interesting to kind of see how that shapes up from that side.
I will say, going to several events in the last couple of months, I think the world in general has kind of had a really nice reset in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of folks have started to realize that quality over quantity aspect of their entertainment experience is more appropriate than, the mass festival, if you will. I think people are starting to realize that, paying a couple more dollars to have a better experience is going to be more the norm. I think. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think you're right. It's neat. Well, guys, I think it's been fantastic. I'd love to thank you so much both for being here. I would love to invite both of you back at some point if you would like. If there's anything else that we could talk about or discuss, or if there's another topic you guys would be great to have on. Selfishly, Leanne, I just like hearing about all the cool stuff that Yeti's doing. All these things are always way too truth telling for me. I'm also and Chris loves to give me a hard time about this. I'm like a bag geek. I have really nice weekend bags and stuff. So, we always go on stuff. I show up and I've got a nice, a nice garment bag, custom made garment bag, or a really nice. And so for Christmas, I got a bunch of John Hart stuff. I wish I'd have known that, Yeti was coming out with luggage. I probably will still have the ability to do that too. Cause you gotta.
I'm in a place for everything. John Hart for road trips, Yeti for getting on a plane.
Yeah. I'm eagerly waiting to get off of this call, honestly, so I can Google Yeti luggage. Is that funny? That's what I mean.
Googled it. Looks great.
Have you checked out 2M Smokehouse in San Antonio?
Yeah, no, 2M's really good. They do a really good job. I mean, I'm really biased. I don't think there's bad barbecue in San Antonio, right? I grew up in San Antonio, multiple generations. I think some of the newer guys are doing it really well. We do a lot of work. Actually, one of the only places that carry our wine is Smoke Shack.
Mm-hmm.
I like remiss. I love their meat market. I'm not much for waiting in lines. That's why, like, unless I would go with one of my cousins who knew the guys at Franklin's, that I wouldn't like wait in line because I'm just a stubborn curmudgeon like that. And so, like Smoke Shack, I love what Smoke Shack does, and they're carrying our wines in their meat market, and they're the only place that carries them because they came out to the winery and like brought some cuts of beef, and we're like, man, we paired this at a dinner the other night with some of our beef, and we love it. Can we carry some wines? We heard you're kind of cantankerous and you don't sell wholesale. I was like, yeah, I mean, since you guys made the trek, I'll do that. But they always give me hell because I still won't wait in line for their barbecue, right? So I'm like, I'm lazy. But yeah, Tim's great. Smoke Shack's great.
I'll say that it's an experience, and I think it's that thing where it is a commitment, right? I mean, it's you've got to plan for it, and you're knowing that it's like, hey, I'm going to go wait, 3 hours. But I think like the beauty in it is like when you do that, like there's just something, you're more present, I think, and then when you actually get the barbecue and the people you meet in line, I mean, it's just kind of you're bonding over, barbecue, and you kind of to hear the stories of where people traveled from and came from, and I remember the first time I went to Snow's barbecue, it was Texas Monthly had just named it #1. And I like convinced my family to we're like, we have to go, like, it's going to get blow up, even more so because Texas Monthly just named it #1. And we my family's from San Antonio too. And so they were, my brothers were mad that they had to get up at 5 a.m. because I was like, we have to get there by 7, They opened at 8 and we got to get ready to go. I mean, we waited 2 hours in line and got our foot in the door and they're like, we just sold out. And you were just like, but I mean, it's just, it's just the experiences. And I think the things that, at that point, you got to prepare for it because it's a total not fun just going to see think you're going to get some barbecue and you're standing in line for 3 hours.
Yeah, no, I get that. I have a lot of kids too, so standing in a line for multiple hours with kids from 13 to 2, this just doesn't cut it. I just can't do it. But I have sent some envoys on many occasions. I'm not gonna lie, I have done that.
Well, the pandemic helped to be able to get it to go. I mean, that was I think it's a lot of people. It was like, hey, this is your chance to get Franklin barbecue without waiting in line for 3 hours.
We actually got to try more barbecue and barbecue places because of that, because we could order to go and order it ahead of time and then be able to just pick it up curbside, and that actually expanded our barbecue adventures. Because that was our thing. We would go do curbside, pick it up, and then we'd go find somewhere cool like Enchanted Rock or Zilker or somewhere where we could just kind of sit in the park and picnic over barbecue. It was kind of nice not having to make it. So yeah, good times.
COVID silver lining.
Yeah. Guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Kate, as always, thank you for jumping in and helping us navigate all things social media.
Absolutely. And there are links to William Chris and Lost Straw in the chat if you are watching later, or if you're watching now, you want to look at those events that we mentioned earlier. John, I also put the link to the Yeti luggage in the chat, so if you need to go back and do some shopping, it's there for you.
And we can find the faux vide one, and I'll shoot you guys that link too.
I looked for it quickly and I couldn't find it, so I'll go back and link it if you send it over. But well, thank you so much, guys. Oh, sorry, what's that, Leah?
The dog is cute.
No. Trying to keep them quiet back here. We appreciate you guys so much for jumping on. It was definitely a fun conversation. Who doesn't love to talk about food and barbecue and wine, right? But we hope you guys will join us again for our next Hill Country Happy Hour, which will be talking about our favorite summertime wines, which the heat is upon us. So we need to know what we should be drinking the next couple of months of 100-degree weather. But in the meantime, we hope that you will visit us at our THCW website, which is also linked in the chat, and our social pages for more information on visiting the Texas Hill Country Wineries and events that we have happening and all the good stuff coming up post our virtual reality of the last year. So there's a lot going on. Be sure to check in. And thank you, and y'all have a wonderful evening.
It was good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us. Thanks.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Take care.